In the fabric of American music, one voice has echoed through time with poetic defiance, timeless mystery, and unmatched brilliance. Bob Dylan. He is not merely a musician. Dylan is a movement, a shifting mirror reflecting the conscience of a nation. From dusty cafes of Greenwich Village to the grand stage of the Nobel Prize, Dylan's life reads like an epic poem, unpredictable, profound, and always ahead of its time. This is the complete journey of Bob Dylan, then versus now. A man who never chased fame but became immortal. A songwriter who turned protest into poetry and lyrics into literature. Born Robert Allen Zimmerman on May 24, 1941, in Duluth, Minnesota, Bob Dylan grew up in the mining town of Hibbing. A quiet boy with a love for music, he was drawn to the jazz, twang of Hank Williams and the soul of blues. In high school, Dylan formed several rock bands, but it wasn't until he discovered Woody Guthrie that his musical soul found its compass. Folk music gave him purpose, and protest songs gave him power. In 1961, with a guitar, a harmonica, and a dream, he arrived in New York City. The rest is cultural history. Dylan became the heartbeat of the 1960s folk revival. He wasn't the best singer, but he had the most important voice. In smoky clubs and tiny venues, he sang songs that made people think, cry, and act. Blowin' in the Wind, The Times They Are A-Changin', and Masters of War turned him into the spokesman for civil rights and anti-war movements. Young, thin, intense. Dylan wrote with a fire that captured the spirit of revolution, but he never wanted to be a leader. In his words, "I'm just a song and dance man." In 1965, Dylan shocked the folk world. At the Newport Folk Festival, he plugged in his guitar and played electric rock and roll. The crowd booed, purists wept, critics called it betrayal, but Dylan was always evolving. Songs like a Rolling Stone and Highway 61 Revisited pushed boundaries. He refused to be confined. The acoustic prophet had become the rock poet. In 1966, Dylan vanished from the public eye after a mysterious motorcycle accident. For years, he retreated from fame. What emerged from that silence were some of his finest works: John Wesley Harding, Nashville Skyline, and Blood on the Tracks. He explored country, gospel, and even religious music, constantly reinventing himself. He wasn't a star. He was a shapeshifter, an enigma wrapped in verse. In the late 1970s, Dylan shocked fans again, this time by turning to Christianity. He released 3 gospel albums, including Slow Train Coming, which won a Grammy. Fans were confused, critics were divided, but Dylan followed his muse, not the crowd. Even when he lost followers, he never lost his voice. Since 1988, Dylan has been on what he calls the never-ending tour, playing thousands of shows around the world. He kept recording too. Albums like Time Out of Mind, 1997, Love and Theft, 2001, and Modern Times, 2006, reminded everyone that Dylan was not done. His voice had grown gravelly, his presence ghost-like, but his lyrics remained sharp, ironic, and stunningly poetic. 2016, Bob Dylan became the first songwriter to win the Nobel Prize in Literature. The world was stunned. The Nobel Committee cited him for having created new poetic expressions within the great American song tradition. Dylan didn't attend the ceremony. In true Dylan fashion, he sent a speech read by the U.S. ambassador. He didn't seek the honor. It sought him. Dylan married quietly, divorced quietly, and raised 6 children out of the public eye. He avoids interviews, shuns celebrity, and rarely explains his songs. In a world of overexposure, Dylan remains a mystery. That's part of his genius. He lets the music speak. Then, a wiry, poetic rebel from Minnesota. Dylan in the 60s was a cultural earthquake. He gave voice to civil rights, youth rebellion, and existential angst. He sang the world awake. Now, an elusive, aging bard who still tours, still writes, and still defies categories. He's 80 plus, yet refuses to fade. His songs echo across generations. He's studied in universities and covered by rock bands. Time hasn't softened him. It has deepened his mystery. Bob Dylan is not just part of music history. He is music history. He taught the world that a song could be more than melody. It could be literature, protest, prayer, and prophecy. He showed that you can follow your voice, not the market. That reinvention is art. That being misunderstood is often a sign you're doing something right. Dylan's life is proof that true genius doesn't explain itself. It just sings, from folk clubs to world stages, from protest to poetry, from the 1960s to today. Bob Dylan changed music forever, then and now. If you enjoyed this journey through Bob Dylan's life, make sure to subscribe for more then versus now stories of the greatest living legends. Let us know in the comments, what's your favorite Dylan song? And what does his music mean to you? Stay tuned. The next story might be about your favorite icon.